everybody, welcome to Marvel Avengers Alliance here on YouTube. Today's background soundtrack is brought to you by the Overwatch soundtrack. That'll be out May 24th. Definitely looking forward to it. And we're here for the Friday the 13th edition of the week in Marvel Avengers Alliance. So, interesting week for us. We got a PvP to go live on a Tuesday night, almost midnight. It was 11 or 12 o'clock Tuesday night, and that was really, really strange on that one. I mean, we kind of expect it on a Friday, and it's a shortened season. And we're not getting Songbird. We're getting Beetle. Now, this is a really interesting thing. A lot of people, I believe, were excited about Songbird. A lot of people. But then when we got Beetle, it doesn't seem like there's a lot of people who are upset. I'm not really hearing a major outcry like, Beetle, what the fuck? Like, she's, it's just been something that's been like, okay, we're getting Beetle. We seem to be okay with this, despite the fact that I think there was a lot of excitement for Songbird. So, for me, I'm still using the Tactical Suicide, Angry or No, still in place, nothing's changed. I suffered my first loss a little bit before the filming of this video, simply due to the fact that I was playing in the arcade, the Facebook arcade, on my laptop. I was playing Battleborn over here, and I had the laptop up with the arcade. I was playing some PvP. And it was an Electro team. It was Electro, Victor, the agent with the hammer. And I suicided into Electro, killed the agent really easily. Victor was the only one left. Angrier was about ready to kill him. So I clicked to do the level 1 on Angrier to kill him. And I go back and I finish out my map in Battleborn. I look over and all three of my teammates are standing there. All three of the enemy team is gone. But the battle's not over. It was like the drain bug happened, basically, even though it wouldn't have. And yeah, so the game was responsive. The program was responsive. You could click and hear the Marvel clicks and everything. But, my team's just sitting there doing their idle animation, and I was like, oh, fuck. So I tell the Facebook app, the arcade app, go out of the game. I go back in. I do another PvP. Sure enough, I suffered a 20-point loss to this little scrub nothing team and had to do 2 fights at 24 to make up for it. So, of course, that goes down as a loss, but it's not really a legit loss. The only reason why it was a loss is because something happened. Amazingly, I only took 2 battles overnight, which was really strange. I went to bed on this Amir win for 10:53, and I came back to only this Bowen and Moonfire one. So not a lot of activity for me. I believe JW was saying he had a ton, but he jumped up way higher than me. I'm kind of cruising so far. So, I'll do one for the week in Marvel Avengers Alliance here, while we continue to talk about things. So yeah, we seem to be okay with Beetle. The Spec Ops is going along. And, I'm now redoing the anti-side. This could be a tough match, because the turn jumping doesn't happen anymore. Typically my agent would have turn jumped at this point, but it's different this season. So fortunately, she went AoE, which saved me a little bit there. Now, my agent is stealthy, so what I'm going to do is get an extra attack in on Rocket. Pretty sizable damage, and I'm going to go ahead and suicide into Spitfire. Gets rid of the biggest threat over there. She's already fed Null Enraged. So he's now at 2 stacks. We definitely are seeing some of these Spec Ops interrupting items showing up in PvP. They're getting used. That is definitely happening. I've had my nulls, you're not worthy interrupted. What was weird is that it looked like it was interrupted, but he still squatted and he still put out the despair. So people are making use of those items. Now initially when I saw that the Spec Ops item was an offensive tilt, I kind of panicked a little bit and was like, oh shit, this is my greatest fear. I've always been, you know, really afraid of what would happen with that. But now I've realized is that they are 3 seasons old, and there's nothing really to fear from that item. They are from the Hellcat season, which is now 3 seasons old. The gear that is for sale on the 6 for 6, that's 2 seasons old, and that is the Cloak and Dagger season. So I'm not that scared anymore about people like trying to stack up on the offensive items. It's good for the free player and somebody who doesn't want to spend gold on the game. You know, it's pretty decent, but it's nowhere near as impactful as I thought it would be. So for my heroes, my tacticians of course are still finished. My blasters, my shocker is training right now to 15, and Deathlocket will follow. Bruisers are doing pretty good. I will probably do Captain Britain and Groot when next available, although the next training is of course going to be my Jane Thor or Boobs Thor or Thorette or Jathor, depending on how you want to do it, or Foster. Some people are saying like Thor Foster, Thoster. And Blue Marvel, aka Black Superman. Blue Meanie. So actually, as soon as the 2 is Shocker and Cloak and Dagger get trained to 15, they have about 6.5 hours left. It's immediately going to be Blue Marvel and Jane Thor. Probably going to push them up to 9. And then go back and start working on Deathlocket and the Bruisers. So I wanted to show you guys what I'm doing with Cloak and Dagger. I decided to train them to 15 in case I want to use them in PvP or maybe slap them in defense. I went with assistant aiming on the level 1 for lock-on. I went burdening over here only because Pesty has my 1 despair ISO, and I don't want to take it from him because... Not Pesty, sorry, Null. Null is in my offense, he's in my defense. I don't want to take a very crucial ISO from him. But I would put Despair over here, but Burdening is in here for now. Casting Shadows, I have increased damage. And Light in the Darkness, I have Rising. You could go with Gracious over here, because she's not restoring stamina on the ability itself, even though she's supposed to. We had a lot of hopes that the maintenance in the middle of the week was maybe going to fix something like that, and then they canceled it. We need this maintenance. I would have rather the downtime and them have said, like, we're going to take the game down for a little bit. We're going to port through the code. We're going to try to fix a lot of bugs. We're going to give our devs and our, software staff a lot of time to work on this. And then they were like, no maintenance. And I think a lot of us, the smarter people, were like, shit, no, get maintenance. Like, do some of it. And, yeah, so I was actually disappointed when we didn't get maintenance. I mean, I could do with 3 hours of not being in the game. I mean, if you run your energy down right before the 3 hours goes, the only thing you'd be missing is flight decks. But, I gave her the Covert ISO, and I gave her Risen Force, which was on my Archangel, because it will make her level 1, more chance to give her rising up buffs. And this one is debatable. There's a lot of things you can run here. You can start with mirror image. You could do the decreased damage from counterattacks and follow-ups. Because Spitfire might be an issue. But now remember, infiltrators have risen back to power in PvP because they don't have anything to fear from scrappers anymore. A scrapper is going to activate their combat bonus as long as they're 15, so it doesn't matter if you have an infiltrator on the field. They're going to do their shit anyway. So, that's how I have her. I really kind of want to work Electro somehow into PvP, because he just hits like a Mack truck fired out of a fucking cannon. Electro is a beast, but for my stat ISOs, I have 1 durable, 3 bulkies, 2 forcefuls, and then 2 chaotics. Somebody had posted a build in one of my groups of multiple durables, but I think that's just way too much on the stamina there. And I understand she likes stamina, but I just thought it was favoring stamina too much on her, so I used the chaotics to round her out rather than more durables. So in terms of the spec ops, let's take a look at how that is going. Now, before we get into discussing the spec ops tangential to it, Playdom really should kind of take a look around at what other Marvel software IPs are doing and go, you know what? Maybe we could be cool like these guys. Let's examine what some of the other people are doing. Gazillion for Marvel Heroes says, hey, here's a code. Turn it in for a free movie Captain America or movie Iron Man for free. Netmarble, you would think these guys are like fucking genies in a lamp or something. Netmarble throws stuff at you. I mean, yeah, I don't like what they did with PvP, and they brought that back a little bit with how expensive it was to respin and everything like that. I still don't officially gonna say, like, fuck what they've done to PvP in that game with the whole, you don't get choices and everything like that. But Netmarble, I mean, they're throwing 6-star ISOs at you, and the journey of progress to get like a 6-star hero is incredible to go through that. I feel like Netmarble's like, here, do stuff. Yeah, you know, they have some stuff to pay for, like the subscription for the ISOs and the crystals and everything. But they feel like, you know, like a grandfather or your grandparents that you show up at their house and they just like throw stuff at you. That's how Netmarble feels like. Playdom, on the other hand, I think they need to do something like this. I think they need a little bit of good PR right now. They're so mired in a lot of shit about their bugs and everything lately, like the Captain Marvel task, the disappearing ISOs, which I think is really bad in this task. The fact that people want to research part of their set and everything, even though these interrupting items are showing up in PvP, and I've already had to deal with it a few times. I think Playdom would win so much bonus points right now with people if we logged in during the Spec Ops to a 500 ISO gift. Now, I thought about 1,000. I said, that's the end. It's a little bit too much. A 500 ISO gift for how intensive this is, and the fact that if you want to get something in Mission 3 that's on the opposite side, you have to go all the way back from the beginning and start it all over again and everything. It's a very ISO-intensive Spec Ops. If they sat there and gave us a 500 gift, I think we would be thrilled with them, and we would feel like Playdom cares again. There's a lot of people telling me, you know, I really think they're dumping a lot in the MAA2 bucket, and it's like the Justice. Like, Justice for All from Metallica, Liberty with scales and everything. The scales, in a lot of people's minds, are tilting badly. And I think there's some proof of this. We don't really know what goes on inside Playdom, but there can seem to be some pretty concrete proof that maybe they are doing that. Now, I like Marvel Avengers Alliance 2. I do try to play it daily and at least do my daily tasks and everything. But there are a lot of things in that game that are frustrating me right now. The Spec Ops hits hard. The fact that I can't use Wasp on the side that I'm doing right now meant I needed to spend time like getting another tank up. PvP has been a fucking nightmare for me this season. Everybody is running like get around tank ISOs and everything like that. It's been an absolutely obnoxious season. But Marvel Avengers Alliance 1 is still the main one for me. Out of all of them, this is the one I devote the most time to during the day. MFF and MA2, a little bit. MCC, I can go lots of days without even logging in and getting my crystals on that one, let alone playing that one. I should, but I think Playdom needs to give us a little bit of some good PR. And I think a 300 to 500 boost in ISOs would be phenomenal. And I think it would do a lot to just be like, hey, we're sorry, we got some shit going on over here with some bugs and some craziness, and the Spec Ops is weird. We understand you're upset. Here's a bonus. And it's so random and it's so out of the blue, it's not going to establish a trend. It's not going to be like, hey, I got 2 CVEs on the last day of PvP. Extend the season. Give me rewards. It's not going to be like that. It's going to be random. We're going to feel like, okay, Playdom's taking responsibility here. We're pregnant with your shitty bug baby. Let's get some child support here. I think the community would love Playdom if they did that right now. And, you know, we've had some nerfs lately to people, and nerfs are always 50-50 on how you feel about it. If you use that character, you're mad. If you don't use that character, you're like, haha, fuck angrier, you know. The biggest one that's got a lot of people upset, and some, you know, fairly well-known people in the community upset about this, is the Bow of Binding and the Heroes for Hire going to be a quick action, not a free action. And they have a cooldown, so if you run them both, you can only use one or the other. And, well, I mean, obviously, well, not obviously, you could use one of those in, like, the weather control device or something, but, that's really ridiculous, and that is a completely unnecessary nerf. I do not think those items were used so extensively in PvP that it needed to happen. I don't think anybody was complaining about them that much. Was I using it on defense for the meteor stacks and null? Yes, a member of a group fought my defense last season and said my team did do the right thing. They were really, really trying to get those meteor stacks out there, and it was happening. But she said she took out my null like relatively early, and it ended the meteor stack threat. But my team was doing what I wanted it to do. Hey, buddy. So, I don't think we needed that nerf. And to people who spend gold simply to get the item, not just to get gold, but like, oh, I like this item, I will purchase gold to get this as a bonus. In other words, they're actually purchasing the item. They're upset, and I think that's rightfully so. It's an unnecessary nerf, and when you have such an expensive item, and you throw it on the ground like that, you just fucking birthday to the ground that thing, I don't know why. Nobody was complaining about these items as far as I know. So why? Why, Playdom? Why did you do this? And you now took... I mean, how would you feel if you saved up for 2 years at a job and you're like, I'm going to go out and buy a sports car. I'm going to get a 2016 Dodge Challenger Hellcat with the Scat Pack and the 6,000 fucking horsepower engine, and you buy it and you drive it home and you're doing 90 miles an hour going home and you're like, holy shit, I fucking love this thing, and you park it in the garage and you come out the next morning and you see a little note on the car, sorry, wrong engine, we made a mistake, and there's like a 4-cylinder fucking Yugo engine in there. That doesn't happen. So when it happens in this, it irritates people. And I'm not like violently upset about this one. I don't really use either one of those devices too much. I've hardly used them at all. But it's garbage. It's garbage, unnecessary change. And it is a big finger in the face of people who bought it for that reason, you know? And yeah. So far, I haven't run into this, but a member of one of my groups has already ran into somebody who equipped themselves with all of the speed blades. Now, there's something that I want to point out about this, in case you've never thought about this. The Wakandan speed blade is 64 gold. You have 36 times 2 armory slots. 36 offensive, 36 defensive. So, you're looking at 72 times 64. 4,000 and change gold. Do you know what that means? That means if you just bought gold alone, just to do that, 4 times 200, you are spending 800 fucking American dollars to do that. And you're not guaranteeing a win. There's a lot of people that say, hey, we need people like this in the game. They're whales. They keep the game alive. If everybody else is a free-to-play player, 2-3 people dropping 800, 4,000 gold and 800 some odd dollars to do that, it keeps the game alive. I know there's people who do it, and I'm sorry if I'm going to offend you, but I think it's fucking ridiculous. That bonus from this eventually goes out of style. I mean, you could probably buy this one season and coast the season you buy it and a season after, and maybe 2 seasons after that, and then the gear catches up. But I mean, come on, $800 for a Facebook game? I love the game as much as the nearest person, and I've been playing it since it was a fucking beta, and I have the X-Play gadget for it, but $800 for maybe 2.5 seasons, maybe 3 seasons total? I'm sorry, I think it's ridiculous. I truly think it's ridiculous. Really, really just 72 speed blades. Jesus fucking Christ. Anyway, so that is the Friday the 13th edition of the Week in Marvel Avengers Alliance. Hope everybody's doing well in PvP. Hope nobody's taking any major losses. So far, I haven't run into any trends in the first few days of PvP. Some Cloak and Daggers, Angriers, Nulls, Kurth. I ran into a stint of pesty Enchantresses today. Like 3 in a row. I had a Heimdall Scrin earlier today, which was weird. And listen to this, the Heimdall had Sharpshooter as an ISO. You know, the increased chance to crit for range. He doesn't have a fucking range in his kit anywhere, but alright, whatever. That one was really, 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 really odd. But anyway, so check out the Facebook Arcade app if you haven't done it. If you have weaker devices, older laptops, Core 2 computers, like dual cores or something, it does run a little bit better, and you still can get the full screen out of it, but it still has the bugs where there's no type searching for full screen. But it does work out, and interestingly enough, if you are like me, who likes to keep your volume up high in your browsers for like YouTube, Pandora, and music and everything, you can adjust the volume for the Facebook Arcade, and you can get sound back in the game and not have it blast you out of the fucking room because it's too loud. It has its own entity in the volume mixer, so you can just drop the volume down a little bit and keep your Chrome or your Firefox or whatever high. And there you go. So take care, everybody. Have yourself a good weekend.